Hi all, welcome to Storytime. My name is Selena and I'm the children's librarian here at the Wichita Falls Public Library, and today's story is Bone Soup, a spooky, tasty tale by Alyssa, Satin, Capucilli. One Halloween morning, three very hungry witches were looking for a tasty treat. They checked the cupboards only to find nothing there. "Bare," said Naggy Witch. "Empty," said Craggy Witch. "Only a small dry bone," said Scraggy Witch. "Only a bone, you say? Piff poof! Let's make bone soup, sisters," cackled Naggy Witch gleefully. "Bone soup is the perfect Halloween treat." The three witches carried their cauldron and bone far and away until they came to a door. The witches hadn't even begun to knock when the door groaned open, and there was the scariest looking monster they had ever seen. It made the witches shiver, but alas, they were very hungry. "Trick or treat, we've something unusually good to eat. It's bone soup, soup from a bone," said Naggy Witch. "Bone soup? Impossible! Go away! There'll be time for your tricks later," boomed the monster. "Piff poof! This is no trick. Bit of water is all we need," promised Naggy Witch. "I'm hungry, Papa," said the little monster as she appeared at the door. "Can we make some bone soup, please?" "None of your tricks," boomed the monster. "Piff poof, only a treat," Naggy Witch replied, and in minutes the bone and the water were bubbling inside the cauldron. Naggy Witch gave the cauldron a stir, and then she took a small taste. "Bewitching," she said. "If only we had something savory. That's all it needs. But where can we find it?" "Look, another door," said Craggy Witch. The three witches hadn't even begun to knock when the door opened with a hiss, and there the spookiest ghost they had ever seen floated before them. It made the witches tremble, but alas, they were very hungry. Trick or treat, we've something unusually good to eat. It's bone soup, soup from a bone. A tasty morsel is all it needs." "Bone soup? Impossible! Go away! There will be time for your tricks later," called the ghost. "Piff poof! It's no trick, it's a treat," said Scraggy Witch. And as the ghost was feeling a bit hungry, a most savory eye of a giant was soon bubbling away in the cauldron. "Bedazzling," said Naggy Witch after a small taste. "If only we had something crunchy." And with that, the eeriest of ghouls brought forth a long, crackly lizard's tail. Piff poof, into the cauldron it goes. An unusual scent began to waft through the air now. Doors creaked open, windows squeaked wide too. "Beguiling," said Naggy Witch, "but I wonder, can a tasty tidbit or two be found?" "Juice of a toad, earthworms, dried dragon wings," drooled the bat. "Colored flies, hot and sweet," snarled the goblin. "Sludge, slimy sludge," whispered a mummy. "Claws, claws, and more claws," rattled the skeleton. "Piff poof, hypnotizing," murmured Naggy Witch, mixing and stirring, mixing and stirring. "Wrinkled fingers, old toenails," howled the werewolf. "Dead leaves, cobwebs, and the wrinkliest of prunes," snickered the vampire. Even Naggy Witch had to gasp. Now the crowd was growing hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. "Bone soup? Soup from a bone? This better not be a trick," growled the monster. He was feeling particularly fierce and quite hungry just then. "I'll take back that eye," warned the ghost. "And the crackly tail," grumbled the ghoul. "I won't hang around much longer," sneered the bat. "I'll use powers of my own," scowled the goblin. "Let's wrap this up now," mumbled the mummy. "Don't rattle me further," clattered the skeleton. "Oh, let's go," howled the werewolf. "Before it's too late," snarled the vampire. baring his fangs. "Wait, I know what it needs," called a small voice. "You do?" asked Naggy Witch. "3 taps of your wand, Scraggy Witch," said the little monster. Tap, tap, tap. "2 spins of your broom, Craggy Witch." Whirl, whirl. "And 1 wave of your cape, Naggy Witch, if you please." Whoosh! Naggy Witch waved her cape over the bubbling brew. Then she mixed and stirred, and she took 1 more taste. Piff Poof imagined that. Naggy Witch cackled gleefully. "Bone soup, and it's ready at last." Trick or treat," called Naggy Witch. "We've something unusually good to eat." And as the full moon rose in the sky, the 3 witches filled a steaming bowl of bone soup for all. It was made with ingredients tried and true, and some monstrously new. The soup was scary, spooky, eerie, bewitching, bedazzling, beguiling, hypnotizing, and spellbinding. But most of all, Piff Poof, it was bone-chillingly delicious. Now, if you would like to make bone soup at home, you can check out this book and you will find a recipe in the back. And I know some of those ingredients can be really hard to find, so the author has been very thoughtful to give you Naggy Witch's bone soup recipe, but also give you alternative ingredients that might be easier to come by. For example, if you cannot find an eye of a giant, you can use 1 onion chopped. And there's alternatives for each of the fabulous ingredients and instructions on how to make the soup. So I hope you will borrow this book, read it, enjoy it, and then make some bone soup of your own. And I hope you will let me know if you liked it. Thank you so much for joining me for Storytime, and I will see you again next week.